welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing what is probably my most exciting, most requested, and most anticipated video of the year. We are going to be talking about everything I have saved, invested, and total debt this time at 29 years old, aka my net worth video. This is the video that I get the most requests about every single year, always around January. When is the net worth video coming? When is the net worth video coming? So here it is, guys. I hope you are excited. I just made a Rich Bish matcha and we are going to get into everything. I am going to be breaking down everything I have in my bank accounts, all of my savings, all of my investments, my debt, my other assets. We're going to be breaking down every single category that makes up my net worth, and I am not going to be holding anything back. This is really peeling back the curtains and an honest and transparent look at what is in my bank accounts. If this is the first video from me that you are ever watching, welcome. My name is Zoe. Here on my channel, we are on a mission to live our healthy and wealthy best lives. So that means a mix of lifestyle and personal finance content. So if that sounds good to you, make sure you are subscribed. Whether or not you're new, please give this video a thumbs up. It makes me really happy when I see the little thumbs up. It also helps the algorithm, and we love that, don't we? So I absolutely cannot believe it, you guys. This is my 5th year making this video. It was in November when I was 25 years old. I sat down on the floor of my living room at my old apartment and was like, wouldn't it be cool if I made a video talking about what was in my bank accounts? Like, I feel like I had never seen anyone do that. At the time, I was on my debt payoff journey and I was really just building the foundation of my finances. Now I'm here, I'm 29. Life has changed so much. First of all, I look so different. Like, who is this girl? I don't know her. It's really cool that I've been making this video annually and tracking my growth. It's really cool to see all of the work that I've been doing on myself and on my finances reflected in the numbers. So not to jump the gun, I think a lot of you guys, if you're subscribed to my channel, you have seen that I did indeed announce I hit my milestone goal of 100K net worth. It's actually a little bit higher than that. So I will tell you guys the exact amount at the end of this video. But what I wanted to talk about briefly just before we get into all of the numbers is when I hit 100K, I felt a weird feeling. I felt a lot of mixed emotions, but I surprisingly wasn't as excited about it in the moment as I would have anticipated that I would be. This is a milestone that I've been working towards for so long, and when it happened, my first reaction was almost fear. I was like, don't get used to this, Zoe. It's not gonna last. To me, this just shows that I still have a lot of limiting beliefs when it comes to personal finances. I still have a lot of anxiety tied up in money. I'm not proud of that. It's not something that I'm happy about. In fact, I'm actively working against that and I'm working to undo that anxiety. Part of me feels like I'm not worthy of growing my net worth, and it's funny because 100K is just the first step. So I'm like, Zoe, if you cannot digest 100K, you are not going to be able to digest 200 or even 500,000 or more, right? So I'm really trying to shed those limiting beliefs. Another thing that I felt and that I thought about was, now that I've hit 100K, maybe it's time to stop sharing, because I never want to come across as someone who is bragging. And while that's not my intention, I can't control how other people interpret these videos. I think no matter the progress we've made, there is a lot of weirdness when it comes to women in the personal finance space. And I'm not going to spend too long on this topic, but I definitely think we see a lot more content from men bragging about how much money they have, actually bragging, or just sharing. But I think men are a lot more comfortable talking about their wealth and showing themselves building wealth. Now, I'm not saying that there are no girls or no women out here doing it, but I just think there are a lot fewer. And I feel like when women do talk about these kinds of things, we have more resistance and perhaps even more backlash. To this day, I still get comments from angry men telling me that I have no right to be talking about money, that I sound stupid. So I let this bother me for a second, and then I let it fuel me, because I strongly believe that as girls and as women, we have every right to know about money, to earn our money, to grow our money. And I feel like I say this in every single net worth video, but we are not leaving the getting rich to the boys, okay? And the last thing I want to say on this is, I feel like I've noticed lately on social media, specifically TikTok, there has been a huge rise in this movement of men needing to pay for everything, men needing to take care of their wives and girlfriends, and girls just wanting to depend on men. Now, if that is your vibe, that is fantastic. I personally love a hardworking man. I love that my fiance works hard, earns great money, is great with his money, cares about his investments, all of that. However, I still understand that I have a role to play. I never want to be dependent on anyone, whether it's a man, whether it's my parents. Even though I'm in a committed relationship, I do take a lot of pride in growing things for myself and still taking care of my money. That probably comes from being raised by a single mom and also watching my parents fight over child support. But this is a message that I'm very passionate about and I wanted to lead this video with because I want to get you guys fired up. I want to get myself fired up. Taking care of your money, building wealth can be so much fun. It's a journey. It takes time. There are no quick fixes or instant results. Guaranteed though, there's gonna be some spam comments on this video telling you guys how to get those quick fixes. I'm gonna try and delete them as much as I can. Okay, I'm getting way too passionate and I'm like talking myself in circles, but I'm so glad you guys are here. I'm so glad we are on a healthy and wealthy journey together. Let's get into breaking down my net worth, peeling back the curtain of what is in my bank account at 29 years old. I'm gonna take a sip first. Okay, you guys, so opening up my folio. Not only am I going to be telling you guys the current amounts that I have right now, but I am going to be comparing to the previous years. I have noted down the amounts that I've shared with you guys since 25 years old. So we really are going to be able to see the growth over time. And I think that's really important because one thing when it comes to personal finances, I think there are so many similarities between money, personal finances, and the gym and working out and like building a healthy lifestyle and like getting jacked up. We all want to be able to do like one sit up and have a six pack, just like we want to be able to save money for one day and become a millionaire. But in both cases, that is not how it works. Sometimes when we're watching that money content, it's really easy to think that all you need to do is like lock in for a year and then you'll become a millionaire. And while I wish that were true, I feel like it's simply not realistic. So I'm really happy to sit here and show you guys the growth over time in a way that's realistic, sustainable. I don't live off of rice and beans. I take some pretty nice trips throughout the year and I do like to buy nice things. Okay, you guys, enough rambling. Let's get into it. We're gonna start with the ultimate basic, which is just my checking account. I have one checking account and I like to keep a base amount of $100 in here. I don't like to keep too much more nor too much less. I don't want money sitting in my checking account where it could otherwise be invested at a higher interest rate or even in a savings account that's earning a little bit more interest. You always want your money to be working for you. So for me, $100 in the checking account is just the number that works. So next up, let's get into my sinking funds. Sinking funds are essentially savings funds. I feel like if you're not in the personal finance world, you're like, what the heck is a sinking fund? Like, what does that even mean? To be honest, I don't know why we call it that. I just jumped on the bandwagon and now I call it that. The way I see sinking funds and the way that I use my sinking funds are accounts that I put money into and I take money out of when I need it. Each sinking fund has a purpose. So I like to divide my savings up and I like to be very, very specific. JS, my fiance, on the other hand, he's not like that. He keeps everything in one lump sum. So you can do whatever works best for you. I just love being hyper organized because I like all of my money to have a job or a purpose. So my biggest sinking fund is my emergency fund. This is one that I have been focused on building over many years since the start of my personal finance journey. When I was 25, I had $12,000 in here. Then it went down to $4,000. Back up to $10,000, down to $8,000, and now here at 29 years old, it sits at $10,180. This is perfect for me. In fact, it is accruing interest because I keep it in a Wealthsimple. It's actually a Wealthsimple checking account. I call it a savings just because the interest rate's a little bit higher. If you live in Canada and you don't have Wealthsimple, what are you doing, guys? Use my code. If you put in $1 when you make an account, you'll get $25 back. It is, in my opinion, the best banking platform. I use it for my savings and I use it for my investments as well. It's in the name, you guys. It's so simple. It's so user-friendly. Feels very like millennial Gen Z, the app. So this 10K is sitting here accruing interest. And when the interest gets to be about $5,000, I actually skim it off and put it into a different savings account. I don't need my emergency fund growing over 10,000. This is just the number that works for me. And I keep this money in case of emergency. And now emergency looks different for everyone. For some people, this is rent and food. For other people, it's an emergency vacation. I'm not here to judge what you use your emergency fund for. I'm very fortunate. I haven't had to touch mine in a while. However, my car is due for a trip to the garage. If you follow the vlogs, you know that might be a cause for the emergency fund. We'll see. We'll see. So some of the other sinking funds that I have with Wealthsimple, I have a sinking fund for my car. However, there's only $400 in there right now. I have a sinking fund for my dog Maggie for like her vet bills or, God forbid, any emergencies. I have a vacation sinking fund. This is one of my favorites, and this is a sinking fund I highly recommend starting if you haven't yet. I love putting money in here, filling it up so that when the time comes to go on vacation, when something exciting comes up, or if there is a deal on like flights to somewhere that I've been wanting to go, I have the money put aside already so that any vacations or any trips can feel more guilt-free. That being said, I currently have $0 in that account. I drained it all when I went to Arizona in December. Anyway, you guys, the total of my sinking funds last year at 28 years old was $1,555. This year, my total sinking funds are at $2,000. Like I said, unfortunately, there's nothing in the vacation account for now, but I am working on refilling it. Now, a sinking fund that is new this year, and I wasn't sure if I should include it in my net worth, is my wedding fund. So I have been saving up for my wedding / my elopement. At one point I had close to 10K in here, which was amazing, but all of that came out in booking a photographer, booking our hotel, booking the elopement planner. So JS and I are getting married this year. We're doing it elopement style. So our wedding and our honeymoon are kind of in one. We're just going away, the two of us. We haven't been splitting the wedding expenses down the middle. It's like he pays for some of it, I pay for some of it. I currently have $2,866 left, and I'm just gonna include this in the net worth. Everything to do with wedding and honeymoon, I would say is like 70% paid for. We've paid a lot of deposits. We have the remainder of certain deposits left to pay. And then we have like food and activities and stuff once we're there. So I do see this amount getting drained, I do. But I'm just gonna include it for now and we'll watch it fluctuate. Now on the topic of weddings, a question I get asked very frequently is if I'm going to be combining finances with JS when we get married, and like, would I combine my net worth with his? The answer is no, definitely not right away. We're both very comfortable with the situation that we have right now. A lot of people disagree with me. A lot of people are like, what's the point of being married if you don't combine finances? This is just what works for us. This is what makes us comfortable. I don't know why I'm talking about this in this video, but our mentality in our relationship is that we look out for one another. Especially now that we're engaged, there's no more like, oh, I paid for this lamp, you need to pay for this, whatever. We're not trying to nickel and dime one another. We are a team working towards common goals. However, I do believe that you can do that from separate bank accounts. It's really not the end of the world. I personally would absolutely panic if I had to split a bank account with someone because I am very meticulous. I like to look through my finances. I like to look at all the little details. He's not quite like that. So I just prefer only managing my stuff. Down the line, when we have a house together, when we have kids, we're gonna combine certain things. But at the end of the day, that's just a system that works for us. So that's that for everything to do with my savings. Now let's move into my investments. My investments are split up between funds and stocks. So let's start with funds. All of my funds are with Wealthsimple, and these are funds that are managed for me. I don't have to worry about what the investment is. All I do is fill out a little quiz about when am I gonna need the money, how old am I, just like some personal information, and then also my risk tolerance. So how much risk you're willing to take on with your investments. Then you leave it to the professionals at Wealthsimple. They do the job for you. Now, a little percentage is taken off when you are invested in funds because they need to pay the people who are managing the funds. That being said, if you're new to investing, if you're not sure where to start, if you feel like your head is spinning, funds are the best way to get your foot in the door, because you literally don't have to think about it. You just let the professionals deal with it. You pay a small fee and you watch your money grow. Now, of course, as your money grows, that percentage, even if it's a small percentage, does add up to a lot of money. So that's where people like to look at alternate strategies. But again, if you're just starting out, this is a great option. So let's start with my TFSA. As you guys know, I am Canadian. So the TFSA is the tax-free savings account. It allows you to not have to pay taxes on the interest that you earn. I've got a TFSA that's invested in a Wealthsimple fund. When I was 25, it was at $6,000. 26, it was at $6,491. 27, $7,028. Oh my gosh, that's very like, okay. And now at 29, it's at $8,871. Oh my God, it's almost steadily growing at $1,000 a year. That being said, I no longer put money into this account. I don't think I even touched it this past year. So this is purely interest growth. So almost $1,000 in a year. That's pretty great. The reason I'm no longer putting money into this account is for everything I just mentioned. Instead of investing in the fund, I'm choosing to invest in an ETF. We'll talk about that in a second. I also have an RRSP fund. So again, in Canada, the RRSP is the Registered Retirement Savings Plan. This is savings for your retirement. There is a program where you can take some money out when purchasing your first home. Your RRSP is great because it helps lower your taxable income right now. but you do pay income tax on it when you take it out in order to live and thrive throughout your retirement. When I was 25, I had $4,400 in this account. At 26, $12,000. At 27, $30,000. At 28, $56,000, and at 29, $64,700. This account I am extremely proud of. This is where I've seen the most growth, mostly through my own investments. So this growth has been because I've been putting money in here year after year. Now in Canada, it's like the great debate of TFSA versus RRSP. I do not feel like I'm in a position to tell anyone what to do. You guys can see that I've heavily prioritized my RRSP in prior years. That is because I'm self-employed. I have to take off my own income taxes, so I like that the RRSP lowers my taxable income. That being said, I have switched in recent years to the TFSA. And honestly, I don't really feel like getting into the details of why, because people are just gonna argue with me in the comments and I don't like to deal with that. But anyways, when I look at these numbers, I feel an immense sense of pride, you guys. I have worked so hard to grow these numbers. From $4,000 to $64,000 is insane, you guys. It's insane. And I know that there are people my age with more, and that's fine. I don't even care. When I look at this, I feel so proud of myself. And I think that's so important to remember for you guys, especially as you're sitting here watching this video. I always say at the beginning of the video, and I didn't this time because I'm like, Zoe, you can't just repeat yourself every year. But the point of this video is not for you guys to compare yourself to me, okay? I'm not out here saying I'm a superstar. I'm not out here saying like I'm the best. I'm also not the worst. The only person that you should be comparing yourself to is yourself, okay? It's really that you v you. I want you guys to watch these videos and get inspired to do better for yourself, to make your younger self proud and to make your future self say thank you. Okay, now let's move into stocks. So this is like a little bit more fun, perhaps a little bit more risky. This is where I think people's eyes really start to spin and you feel like you're like needing to be one of those Wall Street guys like picking up the phone. In my opinion, and from my education, I did go to business school, okay? I did take some finance classes. It is very risky to put all of your money in Apple, okay? And I feel like Apple is like the stock that everybody knows. Apple, Google. You do not want all of your money in Apple. We wish we had Apple, okay? I have no Apple stocks, but we wish we had Apple stocks from back in the day. We wish grandma had invested in Apple. Maybe your grandma did, that's sick. But if Apple goes kaput and all your money is in Apple, you're not gonna be very happy. So diversification is super important. That's why people like funds, because they do the job of diversifying for you. That being said, it can still be fun and it can be exciting and it can be lucrative or not, it's risky, to invest in companies that appeal to you, companies that you think will be growing. And this is where a lot of people do like to have a lot of fun, like to do their research. I have a few stocks like this. I have a few companies that I've chosen to invest in. I see it as a gamble, and for the bulk of my money, I want to leave it up to the professionals. But here and there, it is fun to play around with stocks. What is also included in my stock portfolio is ETFs. ETFs are like a fund, however, you purchase them through the stock market rather than through your bank. So when I said that I stopped putting my focus into my RRSP fund, I started putting it into a TFSA ETF investment. So let's get into that. My TFSA stocks. From 25 to about 27, I only had $100 in here. I think I had like one Lululemon stock and like some Canadian Tire or something like that. At 28, this went up to 4,956. Again, not so much through market growth, but through my own investments. And now at 29, it's at 12,763. This is great. I'm super proud of it. I can't wait to continue watching this number grow because again, this has become my focus. That being said, there are limits to how much you can put into your TFSA in a given year. So I do need to watch out for that. And that's where you can kind of balance between the TFSA and the RRSP. So that's that for my TFSA stocks. I do have some stocks with my RRSP as well. There was nothing at 25, 2,500 at 26, 1,900 at 27, back up to 2,400 at 28, and now it's at 3,375. I do not believe that I put any money in here. So I do think all of this is pure market fluctuation. At least in the last year or so, I really don't think I touched this. So that's pretty awesome growth, about $1,000. Just for doing nothing. That's sweet. My last source of investment is my crypto. Crypto is super fun. Everything I said about stocks and like the risk and the diversification, I feel like applies to crypto as well. a couple years ago, okay, when crypto was like really booming, I put about $500-600 into Bitcoin, and it's now sitting at $1,500. I have watched this Bitcoin go for a ride. I watched it go very low, and I almost took it out when I was low because I was like, okay, it's over. But now it's back up, 1,500 bucks. When it comes to crypto, I really don't have like a strategy. I'm seriously just riding the wave and watching it do its thing. Oh my God, you guys, you need to see Maggie right now. She looks insane. She's dreaming, you guys. Oh, she's so cute. So when it comes to the elements that make up our net worth, the next category would be debt. Now, I am so fortunate and I'm so grateful and I'm so happy to be sitting here and able to say that I am completely debt-free at this moment. If you guys know my story, you know that I had about $40,000 in student loan debt, and then I had my car loan, and paying off my debt was just such a big part of my money journey. I have some moments where I think about my net worth, and I think about the fact that had I never had specifically my student loan, I would be about $40,000 ahead. I wouldn't be at 100K, I'd be at 140. However, I don't think that's true. I really, really strongly believe that my debt led me to learning the value of a dollar. Had I not had this debt and had I just had things handed to me, I don't know if I ever would have gone down this personal finance journey, because the debt was my reality check and it's what kicked everything off for me. So while yeah, debt sucks and it's not fun and we can sit around and feel sorry for ourselves, I really do think that it's a huge motivator. And at the end of the day, I am grateful for it because it led me to this. It led me to, honestly, to this YouTube channel. Like, I don't know what my YouTube channel would be like had I not had this whole journey. So that's the perspective that I choose to look at it with. That being said, I no longer want to go into debt, especially credit card debt. You guys, if you are watching this video and you've got credit card debt or you have any high interest loans, I urge you so strongly to make a plan to pay it off. There are a lot of videos out there that will make you feel shame and will make you feel bad about yourself for having debt. That is not my goal. My goal is that you feel the freedom of being debt-free. It's the best feeling. It's amazing. The weight off of your shoulders, I want that for you guys. You can take the necessary strides to pay off that credit card, to stop yourself from going back into credit card debt. Credit card debt is crazy, you guys. The interest rate is so high. And I know that debt can feel like this never-ending cycle, but you do have the power to break it. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes mental strength, but I know you can do it. So yeah, I just really hope to steer clear of debt. Now, I do understand that you never know. Sometimes life throws us a curveball. The only time I am planning to go into debt next would be to buy a home, and that would be my mortgage. But consumer debt, credit card debt, I want to stay far away from that. So speaking of mortgage, you guys, the last category of the net worth breakdown is other assets. So this could be your mortgage. This could perhaps be your car. This could be any jewelry, handbags, artwork, anything of value that's holding its value that you possess. I got nothing. I don't choose to count my car because cars are depreciating. My car is quite old. Still running well. I do have some nice jewelry, but I feel like if I were to include it in my net worth, it would just be inflating it kind of for no reason. I don't have any fine art. I don't have any fine handbags, and I don't own a home yet. So for me, this category is at 0. That brings us to the end, you guys. And this means that it is time to disclose my net worth to you. What my net worth currently, as of today, sits at. $105,500. So just a little over 100K, you guys. I am so proud of myself. I am so, it feels great. It feels really great to hit that milestone. Since I've been showing you guys the comparison throughout the video, I thought it would be nice to show you guys my net worth over time. This is since I started using the net worth tracker from The Line. So at the very beginning of 2024, I had a net worth of $50,000. At the very beginning of 2025, so 1 year later, 81,125, and now here at the very beginning of 2026, 1,005,500. So it's really, really cool to see that growth, and it's actually crazy. I had never looked at it like this, you guys. My net worth essentially doubled in 2 years. So 200K in 2 years from now sounds pretty good to me. In my videos in the past, I have described building my net worth as building my dream home, where paying off my debt was building the basement and the foundation. My emergency fund was really that first floor. Now that I've hit 100K, I feel like that first floor is complete and we're really starting to build and add on. A second floor, a gorgeous bathroom, a dream bedroom. As I continue to grow my net worth, I really see that as all of the add-ons and extra floors and extra rooms. It feels really, really exciting to have that foundation. Again, I've worked so hard to do it and you guys have watched me build that foundation, which is what is so crazy. And I want to take a second to say how grateful I am for all of you who've been on this journey with me. Recently, somebody commented that they've been watching my videos since my corporate Aritzia haul days. You've been here through it all. That is mind-blowing. So while it is so important to celebrate where we're at and not constantly be chasing what's next, what's next, what's next, I do want to talk about what's next because I do think it's important to continue setting lofty goals for ourselves. I always say that our money goals should be challenging but achievable. If they're too easy, it's too easy. You got to increase that number. I think when it comes to your money goals, you should be like, oh my gosh, how am I going to make this work? But I know I can. I believe in myself. So the big goal and kind of like the logical next step is 150K. If I could do that by 30 years old, that would be insane. That would be beautiful. That would be crazy. I would love to hit this number before I have a child, okay, which is so crazy to talk about. But because I'm self-employed, I don't get any like employer maternity leave. So I feel like from now until I give birth, which I don't know when that's gonna be, but within the next year or two, I hope, this is my time to make and save money before I have a little baby and take a little break. So 150K is my big lofty goal. Given my income, given how much money comes into my personal bank account, I don't know if it's possible. It's a challenge, but is it doable? We'll see. But at the end of the day, it is important that our goals are still realistic. If you say you want to grow your net worth to $1 million next year, but you're not making more than $1 million in a year, I don't know how you're going to get there. I just don't. And if you know, let me know. So those are my goals, you guys. My matcha is almost done. I wanted to wrap up this video just with a quick note about why do I feel growing my net worth is important? To me, growing my net worth is important because it is synonymous with financial freedom. Last year, I made a video all about what financial freedom means to me, peace of mind, choice, opportunity. These are all things that really make me feel happy, make me feel comfortable, make me feel safe. And I think in life, that's what we're chasing. We're chasing happiness, we're chasing freedom, we're chasing safety, and we're chasing comfort. That is my purpose and my why behind growing my net worth. Yes, it would be nice to have a Birkin bag. Yes, it would be nice to travel first class. But beyond those material things and incredible experiences, what I want is to sleep well at night. What I want is to feel safe and comfortable in my life. I want to be able to be generous with my loved ones. I want to be able to lend a helping hand when I can. All of the things that tie into financial freedom and what it means to me, which could be different to you. And if you really strongly value material things, that is your right. Honestly, I do like material things, okay? I'm not trying to sound so like, I don't know, altruistic. Is that the right word? But that is my why, you guys. I think it is so important to remember your why because just like going to the gym, money can be discouraging. You're gonna have setbacks, just like you might injure yourself at a workout class. Life always throws us curveballs, but when you remember your why, you're able to stay on your path, even if the path is not straight. Even if it zigzags a little bit, you've got your why in sight at the end. So you guys, I'm gonna leave you with that. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure you're subscribed, leave me a comment, give me a thumbs up. I can't take myself seriously when I do that. I love you guys so much and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.